Hi, my name is Marta. I'm very glad you're here. Thank you for spending time with me. This is my collection of reading journals. Today we're going to be doing a flip through of the 2024 reading journals, and is these two here, volume 4 and volume 5. These volumes here, the video should already be up in the channel. They are from previous years, and these two are from 2025, and a flip through will come at the beginning of 2026 when it is all completed. So let's get into it. Alright, so these are the two reading journals I used throughout 2024. Both of them are from the same brand. Let me show it to you. Lectrum 1917. Probably I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but you've seen it on the screen. And they are both A5 sizes, and it's the same brand I've been using up to this point, up to this year. I started the year with this one and I finished it with this one. So let's start from the very beginning. Let me set you up. By this point, 2024, it was my third year journaling about books. And I had a pretty good idea as to how I wanted it to look like, what spreads worked and what spreads didn't work. The previous year, 2023, I went a little bit overboard when it came to challenges and trackers in the beginning pages, and I burned out very quickly. I didn't complete a lot of them. So for this year, I wanted to strip it down and just keep it more functional. And as you can see here, I started on the 1st of January 2024, and this same journal took me to the 20th of July 2024. And we start with this cover page. This picture, pretty sure it was from Pinterest. And then we go to the co-piled rating. So this was the first year I used the rating. I will link G from Book Roast, that's the name of her YouTube channel, so you can have a little bit more information about this rating system. But basically is an acronym, and every letter relates to one area or one element of the book. So C relates to characters, A atmosphere, W writing, P plot, I intrigue, L logic, E enjoyment. And you rate every single one of these categories for every single book you read, with the aim to get a more consistent rating across the different books you read. And this year it really worked for me. It was something new. I wanted to give it a go. I saw different people using this system, and I was very happy at the end with how it worked. Here are some of my goals. So DNF is self-care. I wanted to be very mindful around books that I'm not enjoying. If I'm not enjoying, just DNF. There's so many wonderful books out there that I have not read yet, and I don't have enough time, so let's just not keep reading a book that I don't enjoy. I wanted to read only 20 books that were not on my TBR. What happened in 2023, if you watched that video, was that I created a TBR list that was pretty thorough, and then throughout the year I read over 60 books that were not on that TBR list. So that kind of defeated the purpose. I like to complete things, and of course reading outside of the to be read list makes it very difficult to complete that list. So that is a goal I wanted to tackle that year, to cap the amount of books I was reading outside my already identified ones at the beginning of the year. I had also a goal of reading 100 books, of using local libraries more often, and try the co-pile system, which is the one I was just showing you about. Next, I have what I called hopefuls, but it's also a to be read list or TBR list. So these are the books I was interested in reading. This list I carried over from 2022, my first reading journal, and I have organized them. So first I started with the rereads that I was interested in reading, and I would color in the ones that I did reread. And then I would move to 2021. So these were books that I had identified, that I had added to the list, that I expressed an interest in picking up back in 2021. And I have here the list of 2021, and again I just crossed or colored in. I wrote down how many I had at the beginning, which was 51, and how many I had at the end, which was 25. And then I have 2022, which again is the list of books I was interested in reading or I've heard of for the first time in 2022. Same with 2023. There's quite a lot, as you can see, but it's also satisfying to see all the ones that I did read, so that was nice. Then I have this spread to highlight my physical books. I don't own a ton of physical books. I don't tend to reread them either, so for me it's not satisfying to buy the physical copy. It's not something that brings me joy, so I'm mindful of that. But these are the ones that I had. The ones that are highlighted, I don't know if you can see because it's gold color, but the ones that are highlighted in gold is the ones that I ended up reading. The ones like this one, I think it was just this one, that it's like discontinuous lines, is that I tried to, but I DNF or did not finish. I just flipped through this page and I saw the names of my local libraries here, so I quickly covered them because I didn't want them to be in the video. But the idea is that every single color that you can see, all the different colors represent a month, and I wanted to prioritize getting books from the local libraries. However, I was very ambitious when it came to the number of books I thought I'd be checking in and checking out. I created like 3 different pages and I only ended up using one. This is something that I mentioned in my previous video, the 2023 flip through, is that I wanted to create more spaces. I'd rather having things empty than running out of space. So this is an example of that in action, but I really overestimated how many books I'd be picking up from the library. Let me remove this now. Okay, and here we have the books that I read that were not on my TBR. So again, my goal was to not read more than 20, and as you can see, I kept it at 15, so very happy about that. This is my series tracker, and it's the first year I started to track them like this. Previously, let me show you. Previously, I would track them like this, just with the name of the series and just squares for every book. But I might rather this way of tracking the series, which is name of the series, but then you also specify what is the name of each book, and I just stick whatever it is that I read a book. So I'm very happy with how this looks. I definitely took inspiration from other reading journals of other creators, and this method really works for me, and I carry it over in the future as well. Next, I have the book club page. I have a book club with my cousin. I love the book club. We have a lot of fun, even though it's just a 2-people book club, but it's a great opportunity for us to get together and discuss what we love, which is books. And we don't pick a book for every single month because life happens, but this just captures all the different covers of the books that we ended up reading. And then I have the bookshelf, which is nothing too special. It's a little bit plain. I just wanted it functional, and it's organized as well by star rating, and it has the title of every book I read. I created 2 spreads because again I learned from the previous reading journal, and even then I ran out of space. This is December. I'm pretty sure I did read The Ministry of Time in December, which is great, but not the last book in December. This is a poem a day, so this is a spread that I also carried over from my 2023. In 2023 and 2024, I did read a poem every day. It was one of the goals or one of the challenges I wanted to complete, and both years I completed and I succeeded. But I stopped right after this. That was the last year that I read a poem a day. I still read some poetry, but I don't force myself to read it every day. This is a spread that just tracks all the different books I read per month. So you can see the key here. I think like this handwriting is like hideous. It was me trying to be fancy and it backfired. And also I kind of regret choosing, and at the time I did as well, choosing the rainbow colors. I don't think it went. I don't think it really goes. These vibrant colors don't go with my vibe, and they didn't go with the journal itself or even with this page. It's fine. It serves a purpose. This is the goal I had, 100, and I ended up at least 176. I can't remember if it was more than that or if I ran out of space, but it's just a visual way to capture the books I read. Here I have my DNFs, or did not finish books, just with the title and the number. Here I have a visual representation as well of every single day of the year, if I have read a book or not. Most of the days I do read. There's this gap here, and I can almost guarantee you that I was on holiday or that it was something that impacted my regular routine. And pretty sure, yeah, it's August, I was on holidays. I have a legend here, and if it's fully colored, it means that it was physical or ebook, and if it's a dot, it means that it was audiobook. Usually I have two books going at the time. One is physical or ebook, and the other one is audiobook. So as you can see, most of the days I have two things going on, except when I maybe burn out of audiobooks. It does happen sometimes, but most of the time I do have two things going on at the same time. And this one, similar to this one, but it only tracks the days I finish the book. Here is just a graph of every single month and how many books I read that year for every single month. And if it's all colored in, it's physical. If it's stripes, it's ebook. And if it's dots, it's audiobook. So again, just a graph, a physical representation of how that year looked like. And you can see that July was the best month of reading. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the best month. It might be very bad books, but it's the month I read the most, and as well as December. And it's funny because I think with December, as you can see, there's a lot of audiobooks as well that I read. Most of the books I read are audiobooks, but it's funny because there's a very clear correlation between me setting up the 2025 reading journal and me listening to books as I set up the journal. So that's why there's a peak this month, because as I was setting up the reading journal of the next year, I was also listening to audiobooks. And then here is a little bit of a genre tracker, and it started like this. So every different genre has a color, and then I would classify them depending on what star rating I gave them. I ran out of space with fiction, with the 4 stars, because those are the ones that I give the most, and that's why I added this flap. But it's also a very interesting representation to see, okay, so 4 stars is what I give the most, followed by 3 stars, and then 2 and 5 is like a tie. And in terms of genre, there's a lot of fiction, like this pink color. There's fiction, there's green as well, and the green is romance. And there's also maybe like horror with these purples. Anyway, it's just good to see all the different genres and all the different colors. Then I have my favorite book of the month, and this for sure I took inspiration. This spread from Katie is Reading. She uses the same font and the same format, and it's just so cute. So I took inspiration. I wish the covers were a little bit bigger, but that's completely fine. It's just good to have that, again, that representation of each single month. So for January it was Hamnet, February Magnolia Parks, March One Day, A Court of Mist and Fury, May Flies, which was a pleasant surprise, Starling House, Funny Story, Daisy Hates, Garden Spells, Big Swiss, Intermezzo, and The Rachel Incident. And with Starling House, I believe this is the only one, maybe these two, Starling House and Garden Spells, they were not 5 stars. All the rest were 5 stars, but even though they were not 5 stars, in June it was the best one, and in September it was the best one. Lastly, I think this is the last annual spread. I just track every single book I read. I carried that over from the previous years. I find this very useful. I number them, title, and then the star rating with a co-pile number as well. Okay, and I had to add this flap because I ran out of space, so I only had 168 books, and I ended up reading that year 181, which is quite a lot. And then we get into the reviews section, and reviews, I mean, loosely. You know what I mean? Like, let's not call them reviews. I'm not very critical or systemic when it comes to reviewing. It's just what my thoughts are. The reason why I keep a reading journal, I said that before, but the reason why I do is because I read quite a lot of books and my memory is not great. And if I don't keep track of what the plots are and what the books are about and how the characters have made me feel and the overall thoughts on the book, I will forget. Like 2 months after, I will forget. I will remember if I had read it or not. I will have a general idea or if I liked it or not, but those are all the details I'm going to have. So that's why I find it very useful and practical for me to have a reading journal, to refresh my memory if I want to go back and remember what a book was about, but also just in the process of writing, it really helps solidify my thoughts and feelings. Before I start flipping through, what I want to say is just be very careful going forward. All the spreads I do have spoilers. I journal about every single book I read, and I go into depth when it comes to plot, character development, any surprises, any important information for the book. So please do not read the entries if you don't want to ruin the experience of reading that book. I believe this year, 2024, I stuck to this format, which is new. So I had a cover page, just one page with the month. And then I had this sort of tracker. So a lot of people used calendars. I didn't, or not in the calendar format. I used this vertical tracking. And this bit here, the darker bit or the one to the left, is physical books or ebooks. And the one in the right is audiobooks. And you can see the day I started the book, the day I finished the book, and the title of the book I was reading at the time. Visually, I really like it. I moved away from this in 2025 in my current reading journal, and I kind of regretted it. So I'm going back to a version of this, not exactly this, but a version of this for 2026, and I'm very excited to put it to the test. But this is how every single cover is gonna look, if I remember correctly. And then we go into the proper book spreads. I always start with the same format. I start with the first sentence of the book and I quote it, and this is just like a nice way for me to introduce the page. And then for the first time in this notebook, and this I only stuck to it, I believe, for this year, but what I do is I journal on the different categories of the co-pile. So first there's the C. I journal about the characters of the book. Then I have the A. I journal about the atmosphere. Then I have W. I comment on the writing. And then the biggest one is always the plot, because that's what matters the most to me oftentimes. And if I want to come back today and remind myself what Nestlings was about, this is the part I'm going to be more interested in. And then I have the intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. And that's how I structure every single spread in this journal and the following one. This whole year, this is how I structure the spreads. And I have the book cover, which is something I didn't do in the previous year. I have the title and I have the star rating. And in this case, it was stickers that I bought. I will just flip through and put some music in the background. Then we are in February, as you can see, same format. So here is the cover page, and I identified a few books I wanted to read in February. At that point, I moved from this, but at this point, February, I wanted to read only romance books or keep it pretty much focused on romance books. So that's why I wanted to identify them beforehand to make sure I could prioritize them. And then I just track here when I started ebooks or audiobooks and when I finished audiobooks and started. I forgot to mention, but I don't. Gosh, can I? But I don't tend to match the decoration with the book itself. I find it gives me a lot of pressure to do that, and it kind of hinders my creativity or just enjoyment of doing the spread. So the decoration does not necessarily match the cover or the content or the feeling of the book most of the time. That's how I like to work. Then we are in March, same kind of concept, ebooks, physical and audiobooks. I just noticed now, and probably it has happened for a while, but I've just noticed. No, okay, yeah, just for a few books. I started to incorporate this in every single one of the spreads, which is again the co-pile, but I started to incorporate what was the grading I gave to every single one of these categories to have it on the page as well, and to at a quick glance say, okay, what did I like more about this book? Was it the characters? Was it the plot? Was it the writing? What was it that made me give it the rating that I did? So this one, for example, Silence and Muses, I really enjoyed it, but the writing itself, it didn't stand out that much. The rest it did. So it's just some good context and information to have. April, again, same idea. May. June. If there's an X, it means that I started but I didn't finish. So I think this one, for example, I started listening to it and very quickly I realized actually I'm not really absorbing the story as I'm listening to it. I need to switch to, yes, there you go. I need to switch to ebook or physical to proper absorb what is it that is going on, because I'm not giving it a fair chance. So that's an example. In June is when I went to Japan for the first time, to Tokyo, and I got a lot of stationery there. And you can see, like, it's just nice to identify, yes, that's Tokyo stationery, or like things I bought there, and how it changes. So this is the first one. All of this was new stationery, and it was just so refreshing. All of this as well, it was just so refreshing. And now looking back at it, I'm again very easily able to identify, oh yes, it was that point in time that happened, all of this as well. So yeah, it just puts a smile on my face, that memory. And then here, a little bit randomly, I created a summer reads to be read list. So this was the summer already, and there were quite a few books on my to be read list at the beginning of the year that seemed to have more of a summer focus, and I wanted to prioritize them during this season. So I just identified them here, printed the cover, which I really like how it looked, and it was a very great way for me to prompt myself what books to pick up next. And I did actually very good. I read all of them pretty sure during the summer. Yeah, we have the July cover. And that's the end of volume 4. This is the very last page. In this case, I finished the last spread in the middle of a month. Pretty sure I was not done with it, but I just wanted to take it to the very end of the journal. And then I moved to this one, volume 5, and created a very brief cover page from the 20th of July 2024 to the end of that same year. And this is the cover page, and I picked up straight away, so I'm pretty sure this is still July. And then we have August. Yeah, so again, cover page for August. I carried it out throughout the whole year. I do try and be consistent when possible. So again, ebook physical and audiobook tracking. Oh yeah, and then this month, for the first time, I participated in a readathon organized by Jan Agathon. I believe that's the name of her channel. That is her name, and I believe that's the name of her channel. I will link her down below. I don't remember how the readathon was called. Something about a moon. But I don't remember, and I didn't write it down. But there were prompts. There were different characters. 4 of them. You were meant to choose one. I think I just chose them all because might as well. And there were the prompts. And I wrote down, I printed the book I read, as well as stamping what my rating was for those books. Blood Moon, not Blood Moon, Full Moon Readathon. That's how it's called. We have September, a slowish month for me. And here is another readathon. So for the first year, I kind of discovered the Aurelium Academy and Magical readathon. And so I participated in that readathon as well. It is hosted by G over at Book Roast, if I'm not mistaken. And again, you have different prompts. There's a syllabus for spring. There's the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. This one was the autumn equinox, and it's a very complex but very entertaining readathon that I'm not even going to attempt to explain. But as any readathon, you have prompts and you read books to fulfill those prompts. So here I highlighted what my subjects, what my syllabus was for that term. And then there's this page, which is a lot. That was a choice. I don't stand by this choice, but it has the purpose of just, again, highlighting the books I read for this readathon and the rating I gave them. We have October. And then I have again a random kind of to be read list. So we were in October. I wanted to make a list to prioritize the books I wanted to read before the end of the year, just to have a visual representation of that, but also books that kind of gave me the winter vibe, the winter feeling that I wanted to prioritize reading during this season. I did pretty good. I see that Orbiting Jupiter is not marked, although I did read it. I just can't remember if it was at the end of this year or maybe beginning of the next one. We have November. And finally, we have December, the last month of the year, and this was just wrapping paper. And I participated in another readathon. Pretty sure this was also linked to the Aurelium Academy, if I'm not mistaken, to the world of the Aurelium Academy. And once more, there were different prompts, and I read all of them. So this is the Ministry of Time. This is what I finished my bookshelf, but I read a handful of more books. But it was you see, Orbiting Jupiter. I did read it in December. That's what I thought. I had a feeling. So there you go. This is the last book of the year. And what I did this year is the year in review. So I just wrote how many books I read, how many pages, which was roughly 56,000. Average length of the book, just over 300. My average rating, which I always wished it was higher, but it is what it is, 3.59. And then the percentage of audiobook, which is most of what I read, physical, which is less than a fourth. And then I have ebooks, which is the second thing I read the most. And then a graph with all the different star ratings and then all the different genres, which wasn't very useful or visual to do it this way. And I finished with a quick review. So 2024 has been a good reading year. I only got slumpy once, that's great. This is the year I started ACOTAR and Magnolia Park's series. What a treat, yes. I was expecting the historical fiction number to be higher. I'd say overall fiction is still the one for me. Here we go, 2025. That's nice. And then here I have the Hall of Fame to wrap things up. It's all the books that year I gave a 5-star. Some of them were rereads, pretty sure Ninth House was a reread, but most of them were new to me. Not very visual, but I didn't want to print the covers. And then I have a spotlight for Intermezzo from Sally Rooney. This was my favorite book of 2024, and I just wanted to give it that spotlight. This, me? No, thank you. It was Pinterest, and I printed the 2 covers because the book has the 2 covers, and I didn't know which one to choose, and I was like, wait, I can choose the 2 of them. So I just wanted that highlight. I really like Sally Rooney in general, but this book particularly, I found it extremely tender. Just that's the word, very tender, very engaging, and I was just sucked in. I love the characters and the complexity of their lives and their thoughts and just their brains, how they worked. I really, really enjoyed it. I think this might be it. There you go. This is the end of volume 5. I have still a few pages left, but I wanted to start 2025 in a new journal. And also for the first time in 2025, I moved to a B5 size rather than an A5 size. This has been my flip through for 2024. It's a lot. Like I do easily realize that it's a lot, but I loved every single minute of it. This is one of my favorite hobbies. It just calms me so much and grounds me in such a way that I'm extremely grateful to have this in my life. Let me know if your journals look similar. Let me know if you do keep a reading journal, and if you remember what was your favorite book of 2024, just so I can consider reading it, or maybe I have read it already and we can have a discussion around what you like the most. I hope you are having a good day, and remember to be kind to yourself. Bye.